few weeks ago, I had a Facebook party to celebrate the release of my newest book. I asked some of my attendees at the party what kinds of things they'd like to see on my YouTube channel. I was blown away by the responses. So, over the next few months, you're going to start seeing some variety on this channel. I'm actually really excited about it. One of my new video series I'll be doing is called The Map Lady. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of person who, when I pick up a fantasy novel for the first time, I flip to the front to see if there is a map or not. And if there's not, I gotta confess, I'm a little sad, and it kind of hinders the enjoyment of my book. I have drawn a map for the front of my fantasy novels for every single one ever since my first book was published. I'm obsessed with maps, and I'm also really creative and artsy, and so I like to do it. I've even made some non-traditional illustrations in the fronts of books where a map didn't make a lot of sense. Like, I've got one series that has a map of the galaxy with planets that are in it. I've got a series where there's a floor plan of a cloning facility, and I also have a book where there's a cross-section of the ship that my characters are on. So there's always something fun and creative that I can try to do if I can't do a map, but I really like to do the map. As the Map Lady, I will explore the maps in my own books, but I'm also going to explore the maps in many other novels out there. I'm going to talk about what's great about the map, look at the interesting features and how they tie into the plot of the story. I'm going to talk about what elements that are in these different maps that you could use when you're creating your own stories. And if there is a bookish map out there that you would like me to talk about on the Map Lady, email me and let me know, or leave a comment and tell me what map you're interested in having featured here, and I will do my best to fit in all of the maps. Now, it seemed appropriate for my very first episode of this series to highlight the palette map that I made for my 20th book party. This is the book, King's War, that inside has this map. This was the 20th published novel. As you can see, it's the same map. This is the third book in the Kinsman Chronicles, and each of these books features a different map in the front. So this map that I made for the palette is only in book 3. I will get to the maps in these other 2 books some other day. Today we're going to talk about this one. And the interesting thing about this map of Aretz from King's War is that it was first featured in my very first novel from this series, the Blood of Kings series, the book By Darkness Hid. In By Darkness Hid, you see much more of the map here. The King's War map only has the bottom section, where this one has the whole thing. And the reason is because in King's War, we're 500 years before the Blood of Kings. So these are the ancient ancestors who came to this land, and so this is the first version of the map that has been drawn, was drawn for this third book. My props keep blowing down in the wind. It's a little crazy out here. It's a beautiful day, hot but windy. So let's look at some of the interesting features in this map.
First, the name Aretz is the Hebrew word for land. I used Hebrew as the ancient language in the Kinsman Chronicles and the Blood of Kings trilogy. I tried to keep this map simple. I wanted it to have an ancient feel. I studied ancient maps of Europe, the Middle East, and North America for inspiration. The shape of this map is just a little different from the Blood of Kings map. I did that on purpose, wanting to convey how the land might have changed over some 500 years, and also the fact that Trevin, a 16-year-old cartographer, drew this map. Let's take a look at the geography of this map. There are different types of symbols to depict different types of terrain. We have the forest land, the tropical jungle, the forest of giant trees, think redwood forest. We have 2 mountain chains, some sections of prairie land, and a desert region. This map also has a key, which shows the location of each realm and lists some other interesting features. Aretz Point is where the Armenian people first landed. Everything spread out from there. The border houses are military forts that were commissioned by the king in an effort to keep watch for the enemy and to keep any battles far away from the cities and the people. This pyramid is a temple the Jiryeki giants used to make sacrifices to honor their ancestors. The unknown lands are depicted with dashed lines, since Trevin didn't know what was past them and he wasn't certain about the shape of the coastlines up there. Those are some of the interesting features on this map. Now let's look at how the map ties into the plot. My remnant of those who survived the destruction of the Five Realms arrived in the south, right here in what was named Aret's Point. They stayed there until they got back on their feet and were ready to find a more permanent place to live. Then they began to travel north and spread out. Characters travel all over this map in King's War, so the map is a really nice reference for readers to know who is where. The port of Armenia was built on the coast here, where ships could be unloaded, cargo driven over this land bridge, then shipped across the lake to the castle Armengard, which sits on the lake's only island. This comes into play during a battle when the enemy uses the port and the lake to sneak up on Castle Armengard from the water. The border houses are built during King's War, and battles take place at each. The road between Armengard and New Sarikar is also mentioned several times, including during the final battle. The Jiryeki Temple is the location of two important scenes in King's War. Once when the giants share their ceremonial sacrifice with King Barthel, and the second time when Grayson is captured there. So, what is there in this map that you could use in your own map making? First, if it fits your story, you can use the idea of having a different map for each book in your series. You could even zoom in to your larger map and create a more detailed one to put in a book 2 or a book 3. Second, there is the idea of creating an ancient version of your book map. There could be lots of reasons you might want to do this. I did it because my series was a prequel series, but you could have characters digging through history or looking for some ancient artifact or finding an ancient treasure map. I used simple lines for water, and you could certainly do something like that in your own map. The use of numbers with a key is a nice way to keep your map looking clean and not cluttered, while still giving lots of information. And finally, the use of scrolls are an easy way to decorate your map.
So thanks for joining me for this first episode of The Map Lady. I hope to see you again here soon. As the Map Lady, I am going to take you inside